Hello and welcome to Stampscapes Friday Night Live. We have a half-page landscape, semi-gloss over silver mirrored cardstock here. I've pre-printed all this out because this composition here is, oh, I don't know. It's not complex, but there's just a lot going on with the different lanterns hanging in the trees. That'll be the first time I've used those kind of hanging lanterns. But I thought, let's just go crazy with this. And I've really liked the look of the experiment from this past week on the glow-in-the-dark printable vinyl sticker paper, which is in the whatever description of this video here. I put that up there this time. But I have stamped onto this paper a bunch of these lanterns, but I've also stamped onto both the silver cardstock in with stays on solvent ink so that it prints on here. And then I've paired with those impressions some of the glow-in-the-dark impressions, okay, stamped in water-based media on top of this printable vinyl sticker paper. Okay, and then I've cut out the top portions of these lanterns for the water area down below because we don't need these reflection areas to be cut out because they are on the silver cardstock like that. Okay, so we already have those going like that. Fairly complex composition up here with, like I said, a lot of different imagery. The new staircase right here. Some of the art foamies, large tree trunks right here, just because we have a lot of space going up like this. And I knew I was going to do this kind of hanging lantern type of thing. So I have these ones right here in the foreground. There's 4 of them. And you can see in the background there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanterns. Those are pre-stamped out, but what I'm going to do, I'm not going to color those in, but we're going to cut out the center area of these impressions on the glow-in-the-dark vinyl, and we'll just take those and we'll apply those right on top of there, okay? Hello, Julia and Linda, how are you? How's the Pacific Northwest for you both? Okay, so boy, I've been busy all week doing this and that. So I have not I have this designed in terms of the composition here, but I don't have it designed in terms of where I want my lighting to go. And it's because I couldn't decide, because we have these lanterns hanging in here, so those are going to be the lights in here. So I'm not really, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't be concerned. I'm usually concerned with the sky, but the sky is not going to be, yeah, I don't know. It can be a factor in terms of the lighting in here, but it's not really, you know what I mean? It's not the thing that's going to be setting the mood for this, like, at all. It's going to be totally the lanterns and the glowing lanterns in the water, the glowing lanterns in the trees like here. Okay, but I have these 2 figures here too. And they're the Moonlight Dreamers from the Moonlight Dreamers set. I am not going to stamp these out and then mask around them to get all this information down, over the top of them. So I just, with her and this one, I just stamped them out and did a cutout, and we're just going to put them right back on here like that. And then when I'm coloring in here, I don't have to worry about this. I'm just going to color her separately and just put her right down there like that. Okay, so I don't know, that's going to save me a lot of time. This little thing's like a little tedious little cutout, but it didn't take too long. Probably took like, I don't know, maybe like a minute or 2 to do that. Okay, so yeah, so color scheme in here, it's going to be the greens with the glow-in-the-dark lanterns. That's the color of those. So I thought maybe a good pairing might be kind of like purples or something like that, that purple and greenish look, or maybe most of it can be a little bit kind of monotone because it's going to be night. And we'll go fairly dark with it. I still want that information of the trees in there. I want it to like pitch dark where you can't see anything, but we'll try to bring as much attention to these lanterns as possible. without kind of, losing some of the details that are going on within the scene here, okay? So, that being said, let's get into it here. I'm just going to wing it, and we'll start laying down some color and see where it takes us. So, I don't know where that might be. I have this vague, kind of blurry vision, when it comes to these scenes. I mean, I just kind of know what I want in general, but I can't, I don't know, it's like 20% in focus or something like that when, before I actually start doing things. And then when I get, I don't know, 50% along the way, or, I don't know, sometimes it's a little bit early, I can kind of see the direction that some scene's taking me in. Sometimes it takes, I don't know, 90% of the scene or something like that. It's like, oh, I need to do whatever. And that's when it kind of resolves itself. So something like this, where I haven't had glow-in-the-dark lanterns hanging in the air before, new type of thing here. Beautiful and sunny today, good. I tried the holographic cardstock for the lamps. Not sensing about one I had on hand. I could have turned out well, but I didn't like the cardstock. But it could have done, but didn't. I like the cardstock. Oh, okay. No, let me see. Oh, you mean the holographic cardstock that you had that you didn't like, that part of it? Okay, let's see here. All right. So we have this little figure here. I want her to stand out. See, normally I would have this kind of illuminated back here. Like a little clearing in the meadow. I was going to put a deer down here like she's kind of looking, but I thought, yeah, we need kind of a little bit of a bigger focal point, so I thought her. So let's do that. So she'll be a little bit maybe lighter, and maybe with her light like that, she'll reflect down in this lower area better. So one look again. This is, kind of in theory here. So she can look like that. And yeah, it's pretty decent. Let me see. Let me move her over here like that a little bit more, so that this lantern isn't like, going right into her head directly. Let me see. Maybe even more like that. I don't like this, how this tree just comes right directly out of her head, so I'll maybe put her at a little bit of an angle like that. I think that's a decent light there. And then see right here, these lanterns that I put down here in the water, I left a little space in between so that she reflects cleanly right through here, okay? She was an afterthought, okay? So I'm kind of, otherwise I would have put this one slightly over here a little bit more. Okay, but large lanterns low, medium lanterns in the middle, and smaller ones in back here to push depth. Larger lanterns up top here. Smaller ones in the distance right there for perspective, okay? All right, let's get to it here. Always interesting doing something a little bit differently. So for me, all those little kind of changes are kind of tweaks to what I've done before. It's like a big deal, because a lot of things I've done a gazillion times. So if you kind of just do one little twist to it, or like some other concept, like, making something dark in back of someone instead of making it light, I don't know, it's like, it seems like it's a small thing, but it might be like the opposite of what I'm generally kind of going after in terms of my approach. So we'll see. All right, sorry, I'm kind of just getting it prepped right now. My inks and everything like that. I had to rush over to the UPS store to try to get an order out before UPS picked up. All right, so yeah, purple tones. I think that'll kind of harmonize nicely with the greenish glowing tinge of these lanterns here. So I'm picking out some kind of violet tones right here. We'll go with the desert sand. It's not violet, but it'll be a warmer tone underneath. You know, that desert sand, that's tans, they have a little bit of reddish in them, right? So, you know, even if you go cool violets or something like that, or warm violets, it has that same component, so it should harmonize with it relatively well. We'll see what it starts looking like in terms of how much we use of it. Hello, Cecile. Yvonne, how are you? Yeah, this one right here. So I wanted to do. I guess I could have Nah, I don't know. I'm saying I could have recorded myself stamping this one out, but on this one right here, there was a lot of like masking of forms. Just with a paper towel is really easy. But the thing that took me a little bit of time on this one is I wanted to get the kind of arcing slopes of these hanging lanterns right here. And I knew I kind of wanted to go like one way with one and the other way, you know, like with the back one. So what I did to get these curves here too is I have a bunch of these things called French curves. So I was trying to find a good angle for that, you know. So if you have any kind of like gradual sloping thing like this, you know, I don't know if it's something round might be a little bit extreme, unless you have something else, but like a bottom of like a, or the rim of like a mixing bowl or something like that, you can probably get some good arcs out of them and different sizes, so you know you can get those arcs a little bit different. You know, there might be a big pack of French curves too that's like really inexpensive. Not that it's really needed. I can't remember too many times when I've used French curves in stamping, but you know, and it came in handy here. I usually like compasses more with the universal tool holder in them. I'll have to do something with that sometime. All right, so let's see. Just adding down some tone, kind of adding it a little bit everywhere. I'm leaving some areas a little bit blank up here. I'm getting this kind of weird kind of form up top here. It's like something, I don't know, there's something on the paper, but it seems to be taking the ink a little bit differently. So I'll kind of watch that as I'm applying, because it doesn't really show up too much right now in this very light ink, but you can see it's real dark right there, and it's leaving like a harsh line, like it's grabbing the ink faster maybe in that one area. I don't know why. See that right little area right in here? I'll leave a little bit of, even though I want that fairly, you know, or a little bit dark in there, so my figure will stand out a little bit more. But all right, I already lost my figure. There we go. I'm gonna put this in a safe spot so I don't lose her. Yeah, I still want a little bit of variation back here for our figure to stand out. And at some point in time, we'll move into more of a like a marker colored pencil coloring application here. But this is a good way to do it, you know, for your base layer coats, you know, just to get some kind of universal color underneath everything. So even if you go with different colors in these different zones, they'll have one sort of kind of bonding element in terms of a certain color. You might not be able to see it anymore, but most of the things that we're using are transparent colors, so that kind of will show a little bit, even if you're not kind of like really super aware of it, like, oh, there's that, you know, desert sand, you know, here or there, you know, it might not be very visible at all. But again, it unifies because of the transparent nature of most of the media that we'll use. Oh, where are those French curves, Yvonne? What did you use those for? I used to use them in my school days a lot. And I used to buy, like every time I saw a different French curve, I would buy it. There weren't too many different manufacturers for them, though. So there was, I don't know, there was only like, I think there was less than 10. And I looked for them everywhere. Okay, that was back in the day, though. I don't know if, some other place came out with other ones. Okay, I'm really kind of saturating this page a little bit, or as much as I can here with this tone. Okay. And I think I'm going to go with a London fog, just kind of I don't know if it's a neutral gray. The Marvy's a little bit more neutral, but we'll use this one just to get a little bit more shading in, and then we'll start to build up a little bit more color after that. Let's see. Use them with your stamping. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember when I've used the French curves with stamping before. Sometimes I do stuff with like a white paint pen or a white gel pen, or either. I guess paint pen these days, but I do these things like concentric circles in skies or something like that. I'm trying to remember if I've ever done like a curving type of thing before. I think I have. I think I've used those French curves to create like a little graceful S curve, like it's some sort of like planetary, like an orbit or something like that. It wouldn't be orbiting in like an S curve, but I don't know. It kind of looked nice, from what I seem to recall. Like that. Maybe I did that. Yeah, instead of doing this like a straight line. Yeah, I think there's supposed to be like a planetary alignment now that I think about it tonight, right? Did anyone hear about that? I was going to say, well, I don't know, depending on, some of you might be on Eastern Standard Time or in a different area, but yeah, we might have to go, if you have a clear night wherever you are, you might want to take a look outside and see the once in a lifetime alignment or whatever. There's always once in a lifetime types of things with celestial things, huh? It seems like there's always something that's once in a lifetime, like every few years. Okay, we have that going on right there. See, there's still those little lit areas, lighting types of considerations that we're kind of building into it like that. So it's like this, you leave a little bit of areas a little bit lighter, and it looks like lighting in there in addition to coloring. We color in everything like that. It might look okay, but it'll have a different look. But you kind of killed two birds with one stone when you retain some areas of lighter or the white of the paper within your pieces. Okay. Biggest thing is just to kind of transition things as much as you can, even if it's a small transition, not going from just something like color and then none. Okay, you want to have a little bit of like a fade into that area. Okay, so just kind of have a little bit heavier and then lighter like that, okay, as opposed to like a big harsh line by kind of just staying in one spot the whole time. See, I'll kind of move it in like that. Okay, that's how I get those transitions. I always say it's really, in reality, it's really less coloring than total coloring. It doesn't, it takes a little bit of touch, but not too much though. All right, let's take a look and see how it's looking. I mean, it's definitely not dark enough. I mean, we put these kind of glow-in-the-dark things up here, and it's not going to be very dark in the background. Or it's not going to stand out by contrast very much. I mean, I don't know. I guess glow in the darks, we're taking it into a darker area too. But you know, you want the cards to look kind of dynamic and everything like that, just without taking it into a dark room. You know? So we'll make everything out here a lot darker, and we'll see. Okay, so gray and desert sand. All right, just basically two light colors. Yeah, I don't know about this one yet. Let me see about this here. Deep lilac. If you had like a pale violet or something like that, that would be good. If you're going for this color scheme. All right, and it's just a very easy transition because I'm using the same paper towel here. Maybe it's something, I don't know, maybe I should change it out. Maybe there's too much of that previous color on there. I can't see a thing. This is a pretty dull violet though, and light. Okay. All right, now if I'm going to be color, and I'll do this sometime. I might always just be using glow in the dark, you know, vinyl with these lanterns or something like that, or stamping them on a separate piece of paper. But here, you know, if I was going to be just doing this card like this and just using the white of the paper to represent the lighting on here, I'd probably be a little bit more careful than I am now, going right over the top of them, okay? Because again, I'm going to be sticking that glow-in-the-dark sticker paper impression pieces into all these lanterns right here. It's nice not having to kind of work around like little tiny things like that, though. All right, I'm getting rid of more light than I normally would. Again, because, you know, it's going to be about these hanging lanterns. All right, so see, there's like a little horizon glow in there. It's good. It's a good idea to keep that. We'll do this. We'll go with like violet tones up top here, and we'll go kind of in greenish tones like down here in the grasses, I think. When we move over to the greenish ones, I'll definitely not use the same fancy ink applicator here. We'll switch off to another one. Okay, let's try that sweet plum. Let's see what that looks like. It's a little bit more magenta-y, I think, than maybe what I'd want. It looks okay, I guess. Over the top of all those other tones, it's just kind of a little bit more of a, I don't know, brighter kind of plum look. And I think that'll kind of harmonize fairly well with, I don't know, where's a green pen somewhere? Look, I just cleaned off my tack and peel. Look how tacky it is. This is a big, big acrylic block, but I just laid my French curve don't break. But this is really sticky. I can put like my thumb on there and that sticks to it. And this thing's like, I don't know, like 10 years old. Maybe more. All right. Okay, a little bit more. All right. It's kind of, everything's like a really dull kind of color scheme right now up there. It's, you know, it's partially due to that gray too, and everything is fairly light, but it's reasonably rich in terms of color variation in a very narrow, you know, whatever range of values and hue, but we'll change that. Okay, this is just like a preliminary layering that's going on here. Okay, let's see. There's this big thing about a planetary alignment. Planetary alignment, okay. Hello, Sheila, how are you? Yeah, wait, I thought that planetary alignment was tonight. I thought I saw that on Facebook. Yeah, alignment of 7 planets. I think that's tonight. Unless Facebook was wrong, which that never is. I think we have fairly clear. It's a little bit cloudy outside. Of course, it can always come. That used to be the type of thing that I would go out to the high deserts for to check out. We never checked out like a planetary alignment or something like that, but it was always things like meteor showers. Was it the Leonids or the something ids? There's another one that I think starts with a P. I don't know if it was yearly or something. I think I've mentioned that before on these live streams, but sometimes it was a real hassle because it was, they might start at, or that like the strongest degree of them might be like super late at night, so you'd go out there, for us it was like a hour and a half, 2 hour drive to get out to the high deserts, like Joshua Tree specifically. And you'd see like one, meteor go across, and then a few minutes later, maybe another one. But and then you never knew when it was going to come like hard, where you see like one's just streaking across every few seconds, or maybe even two at the same time. So a lot of times I was like, by the time it was like that, I was already like sleeping. All right, so there's some greens in there. It's kind of like a dirty green, huh? Let's see. So I want to take care of everything while it's these background colors while it's still. I haven't done anything with the alcohol inks or colored pencil, because once I start doing that, I kind of, I'm going to remove a certain degree of ability to add water-based media over the top of it, because it's just not going to stick to probably the alcohol inks or waxy colored pencils. So let's get this down as much as possible. But I think we're almost there though. With the dye ink foundation here, and I think everything's been stamped out in dye-based inks here on this. Yeah. All right, so here comes black. We'll close off the upper left and right corners, and then we'll create a little bit of a darker zone down here where we transition into the water area, which I always think looks really good to kind of darken it right down in here. I think it creates a little bit of a kind of a more graceful transition into that mirrored cardstock. When you darken it in like this, that reflects down in that mirror, so it like creates this little zone where it's not so obvious where this cuts off and the metallic cardstock begins. So see this right in here, you kind of darken it right in here, so you don't see so much of this like super hard line. I don't know, I mean, that looks pretty good right there, but maybe oscillate it a little bit, go darker over here. See, it goes darker up here, and it's darker down here too, so. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, some of it looks pretty cool though, I guess. Maybe I'll leave a little bit of that lighter area right there, so I'll add a little bit of a darker tone down here. And if you're asking, well, why did you do that there? What specifically was it about it? It's just there was a little bit of a lighter area there that I haven't darkened in yet. So I thought, okay, if we're going to have something light there, let's go with this one right here. It wasn't planned. It was just, okay, that was the lightest area. This was already dark because I know there's rocks right here. Same thing right here. Here's these rocks right here. So, I mean, this little trail is supposed to go right down to the water line. So I'll add a little bit of tone right in here. See how much darker it's getting right there? So you're creating this kind of the varied thing where it's darker. It's dark there, but a little bit lighter, darker, lighter, darker, lighter, darker, like that. And then if you want to add more tone, then you can do it, but it's always kind of good to leave some areas open that you can see if you like it. And if you don't, you can darken the whole thing. But if you already add darkness down there and shade, and it's like, oh, I should have left that lighter, it's, you know, that's always kind of harder to kind of remedy, because you're not going to you're not going to remove inks off of that area. So just kind of build it up a little at a time. It looks somewhere like Halloween right now without any kind of bright tones in there. Yeah, if it's super dark and where anyone is right now already, let us know. If go outside and see if we're in alignment. That was like a scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey, I think, when all these planets aligned, and that's, I don't know, the monolith sent out a signal to, was it Jupiter? I think it was. If it is tonight, I should have done something with the planets, you know? Kind of more of a celestial scene. All right, kind of darkening in the perimeters like this. It's kind of creating that little, I don't know, whatever, passage of this little framework in here. It pulls you in a little bit more, I think. Okay. I think that is sufficient right there. Let's move into some brighter tones here and see if we can kind of wake this piece up a little bit more. Hello, Darlene. The Tech and Peel is housed in your acrylic block. When it's not using the block, do you cover? Yeah. So the Tech and Peel, it comes with that cover on there, and I've put them somewhere so that I don't lose them. Here we go. Like here, it comes with this sheet, not this one right here, but this one has a big one. But see this right here? It comes with this little plastic sheet, so you just kind of peel it off when you use it. Now, sometimes if I'm using my blocks every day, I don't even put the thing on here, which is probably a bad idea, but because it's picking up dust and everything like that. But you just kind of wash it off a little bit. Look how strong this is. Like that. Here's my pinky. I can lift it with my pinky. It's almost too tacky sometimes. You kind of clean it off, and it grabs your stamp so hard, which is good. I'd rather have that than not tacky, you know. Or if it's too tacky, you can always just kind of, I don't know, put something on it, you know, kind of rough it up a little bit, you know. I wouldn't put a paper towel on it or something like that, but I don't know, just put your hands on it or something. Get a little, you know, get a little oil from the hands on there. I don't wash mine off too often. It's very rare. It's once every, I don't know. It's probably a few months or so, and that's like leaving it kind of open sometimes, you know, without that cover, you know, that plastic sheet on top, you know, because I lose it or I don't know, whatever. I can't find it sometimes. I started putting it in this little bag that's hanging up right next to me though, so. All right, so that's a little bit of lime green. I'm not making it super bright because I want to bring up the intensity of the colors in here just kind of gradually. There that being said, maybe I'll use this duller kind of green here. Like I said, it's kind of like a dirty color scheme right now. You know, because the main whatever star of this piece, I want it to be the lanterns, the glow-in-the-dark lanterns. So, but we don't want it to, you know, like ugly. Okay, here's brown. Let's see here. I need like a. My table is covered with scenes now. Scenes all over the place. I have all of those recent cards like this, you know, here sitting on my table. Here, let me move some of this stuff out of the way. All right, let's start doing some of these trees. The trees are already toned in here, but we'll start getting a little bit of like specific colors on them. I'll go with a little bit of brown here. I don't want it to be like everything is like really super distinct in terms of their color scheme, because this isn't supposed to be like a daytime scene. It's supposed to be kind of night, you know, late night or whatever. Could be twilight or whatever, something like that. But largely dark. So I just want kind of like hints of, you know, like specific coloring. This is a little bit of a warmer brown right here. Let's get some of that into the grassy area as well. Oh, here's some on the steps like this. See, there's like this little opening area like of dirt on each one of these, like those cable tie types of steps, you know, going up here. So you have this gravel right here. But in each little area of gravel, instead of coloring in the whole thing, okay, so it's like this, okay, like a step like that. Here's the cable tie. So what I'm doing is I'm going like this, and I'm leaving like a little area of lighting on there, okay? I mean, you don't have to do that on, like exactly on every one, but that's just kind of, see, so you get these steps that are kind of glowing a little bit more too by having that little area of light within each one of those, okay? Let's do it on the, let's get it a little bit on the tie too. Maybe on the tie I'll kind of maybe get the sides or something like that, and we'll leave the interior or the middle of it a little bit lighter. Here I'll create a little bit of a harder transition between that cable tie. Is that cable not cable tie, but what do you call those? Railroad tie? I forget the name. Cable ties are those, you know, little straps. Okay, I can't think of things right now. But do you see that kind of area of light on each one of these little things right here? A little bit of dark, light, dark. Even like a little tiny area like that can help out. Or like this rock right here. You know, I don't know if it's a brown rock, but we'll make it a brown rock. See this like this? So you can kind of leave color like that instead of the coloring in the whole thing. And you get this illumination showing on that rocker. See this right in here? How it's light and dark within this grassy area. You can put a little bit of tone in here just to change hues a little bit. This. So now we've treated this area kind of like this. You know, these same areas. Looks a little bit different, but it's the same concept though. Right in here. So it's just oscillating light and dark, and then you're coloring and lighting at the same time by the retention of light. I'm having a hard time coloring these trees right here because there's so much of this ink up here. It's really, really wet up there. So it's like trying to add in dry into wet. Okay, there we go. See, it's kind of coming to life a little bit more. Let's take a look. Hello, Robin. Perseids, meteor showers. Not sure. Yeah. There was there's the the Perseids and the Leonids, right? I don't know if they're like different times of year, or, the frequency of them. Yeah, thank you. All right, this is looking better. And then we look at how it looks down here in the reflection area too. Okay. Prismacolor colored pencils here. All right. That. All right, that brown really served us well here, I think. Where was that other darker brown now? Oh, here we go. Right here. So I've added this, the lighter brown over that. A good portion of the tree. 4/5 or something like that. In various, applications. Some of it's a little bit thicker. So I'll add in the darker one on the side of the trees. I usually have my pieces kind of interior lit, so trees to the left are getting left side shaded harder, and then trees to the left, the right of center are getting right side. Did I say that correctly? Trees to the left, left side shading. Trees to the right, right side shading. Something like that. And this was like I don't know, it's like a, whatever, cocoa, I don't know, brown or something like that. Dark. All right, let's create a little bit of a stronger, let's create a little bit more of a shaded transition from this path right here. See how it looks so different right here from this area in here? It's like really abrupt, okay? Now, I'm not really too worried about that because there's this figure that's going to go right here, and it's going to fill in this area a lot. But let's transition it a little bit. So what you do is you kind of, just darker tones. This one I'm using brown. I'll use some black in here too when I get to that. But see this right here? So I'm going into this rocky area a little bit more. It'll be the black that really transitions it more, but this will be a kind of a preliminary shaded area right in here. So see this right in here. I think it's kind of like a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, a little bit darker there. Okay. And then we'll set this into the that grass more through the use of that shade. Okay. We have too much fog to see anything. Yeah, I'd imagine so. Huh. Do you get more clear nights, Sheila, when it's like I don't know, maybe like the summertime at all or out there or anything like that? All right, here's black, okay. I'll try to vary it a little bit here. Luckily, I've mentioned this before, luckily the black Prismacolor, it seems to be softer in texture, so it really applies very easily onto my card stocks. It really goes on there over the top of this, because remember, I have a lot of layers of colored pencil down there already, and it just applies really. It's like, it's like colored pencil butter. Okay, see these trees right in here? I mean, it looks okay as is, but if you want to kind of anchor them a little bit more, then you can create a little bit of a shadow down at the base like this. And what you're doing is you're kind of going from harder tones to lighter like this. So you get that transition again like that, okay? Moving away from the tree. We can do it if there was like a hard moon right here. You can have the shadows going out this direction, you know, but this is just like going to be like a horizon glow down here. So I'm just kind of anchoring it this way, you know. I might put a little bit of a angle to it, but not very much. Something like that. Okay, see how it's like set into the scene more now. Okay. Yeah, let's do this too here. My brown wasn't going on here very well, but the black looks like it's applying pretty nicely as mentioned. Okay. All right, like that. Let's take a look at, I don't think this really needs it, but let's try some additional colors on here using the pens. Okay, so this is already really warm, coated with all these different inks, dye-based and colored pencils. And again, this is alcohol, so I don't know how much is going to really apply over the top of wax. It might stick to the wax okay of the colored pencil, but see, this is a little bit of a warmer tone, right? It's almost like, it's like a warmer version of that desert sand, that color that I used initially as a base coat. Look, you can't see the desert sand at all, but it's a little bit of a warmer tone than this, okay? This one's like really dull. I mean, it's good in a good way though, because it really applies very nicely as a kind of a neutral tone as a base coat. Okay, but let's see here. Let's go in and see if we can't just kind of infuse a little bit more brightness. Oh, that is applying pretty well in here. I think it's, I don't think it's absorbing into the paper. It looks like it's puddling up on the surface, which is fine too, because I'll be spray sealing anyway. Yeah, it's bringing out the trees a little bit from the background. So usually distant objects are, they're lighter in value, okay? But they're lighter in value, but they're also duller in intensity, okay? So putting this tone into them, it's kind of bringing them out a little bit closer to us from a visual perspective, okay? Optical or whatever. Okay, see that right there? It just pulls it out from the background. Now, I put it into the background too, but I'm talking about, you know, things were like really deep, you know, back there. Maybe I won't use something like this. Maybe I'd use like a duller tone like that, you know, something less orangish, vibrant, you know. This is all relative too, because everything's kind of like not very bright in here. It's a little bit muted. All right. See, it's like slightly brighter tones in the shadows, like that. That's what Professor Dick Oden said to us in class. Sometimes the brightest colors are in the shadows, or they're, I don't know, maybe he said are most often times are in the shadow areas. Okay, I haven't colored those figures yet. You know, I'm kind of getting to that. Yeah, it looks so much better with this pen here, huh? Okay, let's go. I don't know if this is the one to do this with. Maybe not. Let's go in with. What about like a olive green, maybe? I get rid of the Tech and Peel Clear because I lose it. Oh, replaced with thin cut to size cooking non-stick. That's a good idea, Candy. So I always lost my clear sheets like this. So at some point in time, someone said to me, "Hey, you should write, I don't know, write something on top of the thing, like with permanent markers." So I think we put like X's on top of these clear sheets when I was at a convention one time. Someone brought that up, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. But I was like stamping, so I asked someone, "Can you do that on all my pieces?" Because I was, in those conventions, you get, like one little tiny table area, and everything was like piled up everywhere. All right, this is a little bit of like olive green. Okay, so I'm keeping it in the shadow areas. I'll put some on my rocks too, like that. Okay. A little bit in the trees, maybe? Yeah, like that. Well, looks like a little bit better, huh? Okay, and I keep looking at this one. This one's like super, super bright. It's the one that I found this pen. It's like fluorescent practically, but that's that little interior coloring on this lantern right here. It's this. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to be covering up these lanterns, but you can use like something like this if you're just, you're not going to be coloring, applying that vinyl on top of there. This would be something really bright like this would be kind of cool. Let's see. Let me see if I can add a little bit of this. Maybe it's a little bit too kind of, yellowy down here. Yeah, I'm just trying to go for a little pop of like intensity with this. I have to kind of be a little bit careful because I don't want too much of it. I don't know. Maybe these lanterns are casting their light down there. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense in this. Maybe it'll make sense in this scene visually. I don't know. Yeah, let's a little bit more three-dimensional now, I think. What do you guys think? With those brighter tones in there. Remember how dull it was with those base coat layers? Yeah, don't toss your cards out at that point in time. That's what a lot of people, if they haven't seen kind of the technique where you're kind of like, it's almost like that old kind of painting technique in like in oil paints, maybe in acrylics too. I don't know. We never used acrylics in school, but with the oil painting technique, it was often we worked from thin to thick. Okay. So you're just building up on top of it. So, you're not really, you're not seeing your base coats and preliminary color tones and, lighting and as a finished product. It's just like, steps along the way to get to where you're going. So, but if people haven't kind of layered pieces like that though, and they see that, those first few colors that I added on here and how muddled and kind of, not very dynamic of a color scheme it looked like. It's not deep with color, you know what I mean? They get a little panicky. Not any of you, though. I say that kind of jokingly because sometimes if I'm going with a completely different color scheme, I'm not too worried about it too sometimes, but sometimes for me, I might be going with like a completely different color scheme and it takes me getting all the way to the darker tones for it to really kind of, cut round into form sometimes. Or I might go through all the coloring, but it's the white pigment ink that kind of brings it all together. Okay, so this is a little bit drier up here now, but I'm looking at this and this doesn't look like dark enough for me yet. It's not, I want it a little bit darker, like night. See, when you put it like this, we get this extra light up here too that's bouncing off this mirrored surface, right? So it's making this look lighter up here because it's catching light. It's getting light from above and below like that. So after doing all this right here, this is probably a little bit drier up here now. So I think it'll accept more ink up here. It's really resistant to it with all that Memento ink. Especially Memento inks are pretty thick. Don't scrub tack and peel with a scrubber. Yeah, it doesn't, it's not as see-through. Is that the aspect you're talking about, Candy? I have scrubbed mine. Like this one's scrubbed right here. And it became a little bit more translucent than it used to be clear. But mine was so ink stained though that if I didn't scrub it off, I used a scrubber. I used that that dark green side of, that sponges that are yellow and green with that scrubber on one side. Maybe that's just that one brand, but I scrubbed it down really hard with that. Yeah, it just became, for me, mine just became less see-through, but it was a lot cleaner though. Afterwards, mine was like really, really coated in ink, and it just removed all of that. And I do use, if you ever do that, use some of that. Sometimes I use soap on here. You just rinse it off with water most of the time, but if you use a little bit of soap and kind of wash it off, it really helps. Like, see how I have all this glitter on here? If I really wanted to take that off, if I put like some soap and just kind of wiped it over, most of the times I'm just doing it with my hand, and just wiping it off. It cleaned it off pretty well. But Candy, you removed some tack and peel from your acrylic block. I was going to say, that must not have been very easy, right? If that's what you did. Or do you, is one of those things where you just kind of get it going, then you're able to pull it off? Okay, let's see. I'm kind of going in here with a really dull, grayish, incarnation of the black. I really want to bring this in more like that. I'm also wondering that lower area right in there, is that too light? But if I leave it though, I can add in that white fog coming over that. So maybe it'd be a good idea to leave it in there. Just thinking out loud here. Maybe, huh? Okay. We're going to put it to a vote. All right. Let's see. Okay, if you just joined in, or whatever, 5 minutes after I started this, I was talking about, I have these two characters from the Moonlight Dreamers. Ooh, she is really dark right here now. Now that it's really dark in here, you can't even see her head. So I'm going to put her right in here like that somehow. So, okay, so I can't see her right up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have like this fog creeping in here, and that's going to lighten up this area back there. I think enough to, so we can see her head at least. And I've darkened up this area more than I usually would, just because I want her to stand out more by contrast. Okay, now she needs to get colored, you know, but let me get the gist of it now. Let me see now. We're almost there with the coloring. Yeah, see, she'll reflect down that lower area fairly well. And remember, we still have the lights to add in here. The glowing lanterns up top here. So, she could go up here too. That looks pretty good. Actually, it looks pretty good. I have that piece of wood in there, like it's like a wood. I forgot what I called it. It was like wood with waterfalls or something like that. She's standing right there. So her against that little opening up there, that looks better actually than having her right next to that water side, like that. But we'll still add in some like little haze or something like that, so she stands out a little bit more. Hello, Patty. How are you? I put a sticker on my clear sheets and stamping block. Okay. Mine didn't stick. I've had it for years. The part of that stuck to the block is fine. Oh. Well, yeah, you ruined the other side, huh? I haven't seen Tag and Peel. I didn't know it can. I was kind of convinced it was like indestructible, practically. You know, mine at least. Like after I scrubbed it off with that green scrubbing brush, because I fully expected it to not be very tacky anymore after that, but it really was quite tacky. Maybe not the same as like when it was brand new or something like that, but still like really tacky. This one's not my oldest block though. My oldest block is somewhere else. That one was really pretty gummed up, but yeah, when I saw Tack and Peel for the first time, it was Ken Pesho out at the Scenic Stamping Retreat out in Chicago, and he pulled that thing out, and his was like black, you know, with the, and I don't know, I hadn't used it before. I hadn't used any kind of unmounted stamp process before, and he said, yeah, he's never had any problem with it, and it looked like to me, you know, he had been using that one a lot. Okay, let's add in some textures down here and highlights. Okay. Actually, this green right here in this green area, this will probably be good because we're going to have these glow-in-the-dark green lanterns in here. So maybe it's some of the lighting that's kind of reflecting off of the ground in here or something like that. I wanted to do another bluebells scene sometime, you know, like a forest with a green carpet of green, but then there's like these big patches of bluebells throughout the forest floor. I never really got that down, you know. I got a few pieces that I really liked, but I wasn't in control of it. Like, you know, when I tried it again, it just looked like really different than the another time. Or I don't know, I wasn't getting the color scheme down. The color, maybe the combination of colors down. Right. I don't know what it was with. It was with alcohol inks, probably dye base. It's probably the same combination of things here, but I don't know. It just the color scheme came out different. It's like the first one really. I think it was the first one came out like, oh hey, I really like that look, not knowing what I was doing though. So it was like kind of hard to replicate. All right, so there's some of that texturing right in there. Okay. Let's see. Let's go with the figures here too. Let's see. Let me just get a couple base layer colors in here. I think I'm gonna put. I think I'm gonna put her like in a A little bit of a violet dress here. Accents maybe to contrast against the green lanterns maybe. I used to be able to tell people to go buy tack and peel at like a like a Michael's or something like that. Some store that I knew it would be around them. Or I think they had it at Hobby Lobby too. But it's like now, most people have never heard of it. All right, let's see. Let's go with there's like a violet-ish color here. This dress right here is really dark, this figure, where the other one's really light. So I'll add just this really light one in here, because if I had a darker one, I won't be able to see all the drapery very much. So just go with the, because it's already dark, so just add like a tint to it. You can do it with a alcohol pen too, if you have a bunch of different versions. Let's go with this one on here too. I'll just kind of hit it in the shaded areas here, so that it still looks somewhat like a white dress. So anytime something represents like white, like a building or a wall or something like that, get a little bit of extra tone in there anyway, just to get it looking a little bit more dimensional. Okay, otherwise it really stands out from the background. It doesn't have to be all colored in or anything like that, but you want to get it rich somewhere. Like even if it's in the shadows, like a couple tones, light tones in the shaded area or something like that. But that's sometimes what I see in pieces. If something represents white, it would be just good to have a little bit of color in there. And it's usually the colors that are being cast on it, because white really really reflects the colors that are, shining on it. So if, you get a warm light, or someone's out at like watching a sunset or something like that, and they're wearing white, their shirt is a little bit of a warm tone on there. So you can do something like that as far as like a color strategy. Here's a little bit of a, I don't know, it's like a warm gray here, so you can hit it in those areas a little bit, like so. Put it on our figure as well, or on whatever, the flesh, Same thing right in here, just a little bit of shading. It's barely visible, but it's doing a little bit of work to kind of round things off a little bit more. Like just in the shaded areas, just hit it with like some really light tones, like that. Okay, I'll put it on her whatever, shadows on the skin as well. All right. All right, see that right there? Yeah, it's coming around. Not quite there yet, huh? I need a little bit more color on that. Let me try something here. I'm gonna pull out like a different color that I've used, but nah, not that one. I was going to say like a really light, where's that? Yeah, this one right here. If I had that in pen form, I'd use that, but sometimes I like this little bluish tinge, you know, just to, it can make things look a little bit more, I don't know, whatever, full without being really obvious. So that little, there's a little bit of a bluish tinge there. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it's picking up. I'm really using this lightly too. I'll use it in some of these open areas where there's just white. And it just makes it look a little bit more, I don't know, kind of jeweled or something, maybe. Come down here in the this transition area too, because it's looking a little bit anemic. Maybe that's the term. You know, it looks. Sometimes you add this blue jewel tone, even in like sunset colors, like warm sunset colors. It makes things, yeah, look a little bit less anemic. It doesn't mean it's going to have to be super bright or anything like that, but it fills in a little bit more. Like that. All right. All right, so this one's aquamarine, but any kind of like a light, slightly warm blue tone. You know, any brand of, or medium can do that. I used to do it just like dye-based inks. The Caribbean blue, you know, is a really good one. Distress inks, it's like the tumbled glass would be a good one. What's some other ones? I don't know, I mean, just, you know, a little bit of, like a lighter version of this, you know, would be perfect if you're doing it in pen form. Okay, white paint pen. Like some of these areas, these steps got a little bit, you know, dark, so you put a little bit of that light back into it, like right up there. I can see that little strip of that, a little right in the middle there. Let's put some on the sides of some trees. Maybe it should really be greenish because it's going to be, you know, we're going to have those glow-in-the-dark lanterns. But I'll use a little bit of white right now. Just to get a little bit more rounded off looking. Look at that. It's like it's too much right there, so you just kind of wipe it right off or dab it down, and it's a little bit duller of a dot there, so. Okay, so there's a little bit of that white kind of glowing area there because I colored it in around on the perimeter like that. So you can add in a little bit of lightness right in the middle there. You know, where you've retained some light. So you can put some of that light in that darker area like that. So it just kind of, you know, I don't know, it picks up the lighting a little bit more. On the tops of some of your rocks, a little bit of a highlight where you've retained some lightness. All right. Oh, did I leave it? I forgot what that was in reference to. Oh, the lightness right in there on the horizon, was it? All right, so is that looking a little bit more vibrant, I think, here. All right. let's get her, let's see, let's find a spot for her like this. Okay, no, wait, hold on. I need to add in that misty thing in the background. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to add it in, you know, behind her head. So let's go with the, you can use these cotton balls. Like if you use it twice, it's perfect. It has the right amount of dried up, you know, ink. I'm talking about it with the white pigment ink. Like this, but this is a little bit too hard, so that's no good anymore. Okay. And then after this, we'll add on those lanterns and, I don't know, a little bit of fine tuning. I think it'll be done. And then we'll flip off the lights and see what we have. When have you heard that in a stamping video, huh? If you just joined in, we're talking about, you know, this is a glow in the dark, accessorized scene here. All right. White pigment ink on a cotton ball, 100% cotton ball. You kind of want to get it kind of backed into the, you know, the surface a little bit, so you have a little bit of pigment ink right in there so that you have something to apply. If you just kind of tap it in here and just kind of go, it's going to be a little bit frayed, okay? And nothing's going to be getting applied, so you want a nice flat surface like that, okay? And then you see I'm kind of pinching it here to kind of contour it into a shape that I think is going to be real, you know, easy to apply. I guess I don't know. I guess I put mine like in a shape of like like a finger or something like that. Okay. All right. All right. So we'll start applying it into these light areas. Okay. So in that area right in here, it's lighter on the horizon like that. And that's an area that will accept the white ink really kind of gracefully because you have white going into dark, and that's where I apply usually, you know, a lot of my white ink. Okay, so it's like you're bringing some of that light into the area. Okay, I don't have enough on here. My pad is like really pretty dry, even though I think I just inked it up a little bit, but not too much. I like to keep one of my pads really fairly dry. It's not even medium dry. It's like pretty dry. And this isn't one that I use to stamp my images with. I use my white pigment ink so much that I have a separate pigment ink pad just for like making impressions. It's usually sometimes if I'm in winter scenes, it'll be like trees and white or something like that. For the most part, it's like stamping out word stamps. I like reverse text, you know, white text on darker backgrounds. Okay. All right, but see that light coming into the scene now, like that, from the background. Let's see, let's do this. Texturally, I think it looks so much cooler now, having that textural, I don't know, whatever, variation. It's really soft there now, and everything else is fairly crisp. That, see that? Man, those trees look like they're glowing a little bit. Let's do maybe right here, where that little bit of light is right there. You can just kind of add it slowly like that, where you just kind of barely see it. See, it's like kind of glowing a little bit. Now, I mean, I might want it like just like that, okay? But I just know that when it dries, it's going to get a little bit more see-through, and it won't be that light on there. And then when I spray seal it, it'll get a little bit more see-through then. So I apply a little bit more than what I think looks ideal at the time of application, okay? Maybe I applied a little bit too much, so I'm taking my clean area of my cotton ball and just kind of wiping some of it off, but I think that looks pretty good. I went down here a little bit too much. And let's do this right in here. Let's go. Let's go. I wasn't gonna bring it right down into her, but let's do it. I think this will look really cool with a little bit of haze right in here. All right, so I'm coming in from this side now. I kind of start off a little bit conservative, but then it's like, that looks really good, so I keep adding more and more. Yeah, it's kind of, we transitioned this stair, these steps here into the surrounding area with darkness, but it also looks like it's kind of integrating it into the scene a little bit more with lightness too, like that too. So, or texture, I guess you can say. Let's put a little bit of a mist right down here at the water side. Okay, removing a little bit. Like so. Okay, look at that. All right. Getting there. Okay. Yeah, something like that. All right. I think that is established. Let's put on the glow in the dark or start applying some of the glow in the darks in here. I don't have to cut out this whole lantern right here. That would be a real kind of hassle. So we stamped them out like that, but all I need is this portion right here that's light. Maybe I should cram together, some a little bit closer, but no big deal. So I'm just going to cut these out like so. I think I need 4 of these large ones. And I'll show you what I do with these. I didn't pre-cut these ones out because I know if I did, I'd lose them. Because I'm not organized enough to put them in a place that, where I won't lose them. Okay, and so you don't need to get too close either, okay? Because if you get some of this black area right here, it'll just kind of blend in with that black area of the impression too, okay? So very easy cutting assignment here. Doesn't need to be perfect. You can undercut. If it needs, it'll just kind of go outside the perimeters, and it's easy to trim up if you need to. Okay, let's see here. I think the hardest thing is going to be taking that little paper away from the back of this right here. This tiny little bit. Okay, here we go. All right, let me see. What side is up and what side's down? Okay, here we go. So let's go like this here and there. With a glow-in-the-dark lantern. It looks like it's incorporated, I think, you know. I mean, it's sticking out from the background, but, you know, it incorporates enough. It doesn't look like something's sticking out of there, so. Sorry for this tedium here of watching me trim out, you know, 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch little pieces of imagery like this. Hello, Bonnie. Thanks for the hugs. Very nice. Okay, here we go. Hello, Jeannie. Jeannie, stamp along. Started late. Dentist today. I had a dentist appointment on Wednesday. The first crown I've ever had to get. I guess I have a split in my one of the tooths. My dentist said, you know, if he looked carefully, he said every one of your teeth would be, you know, everyone's teeth would have a crack in it somewhere. But if I got like this something in my back molar, lower molar, it's like it wasn't like a sharp pain or anything like that, but I can feel this like dull kind of a sensation. If I ate something really hard in there. So he says, yeah, it's a crack. So every time you bite down, it's kind of like opening this like crack. But yeah, I had to have that taken care of. This dentist was like super conscientious of like causing people you know, whatever distress. Yeah, but I didn't need it. I have a reasonably high pain, you know, threshold or discomfort, and it wasn't like painful at all. But it's like he doesn't even like, you know, shoot someone up, you know, with that whatever that shot. He gives like this super shallow shot just to numb up the area for the shot. Okay, now see, that's one of those things, you know, doing it this way. I can have that little glow in the dark lantern or whatever colored lantern right there. Even if I'm not doing this cutout type of 1, 3, 4, 5, 5, yeah, 5. But it's nice not having to kind of work around really tiny little things. By doing these cutouts like this. Like I said, I don't like tedium, but if it's worth it, for me, for the like lanterns or lights or something like that, if it's a cool little effect, I'll do it. Just like applying like glitter pieces one by one. I guess I don't know, maybe that's it. You know, it's like putting light elements into the scene. I guess I'll go out of my way for something like that. Because it would be like totally cool. I think about like receiving something like this. You know, it takes me back to like being a kid. Now these ones right here, I don't know. Well, I guess I need to see what size it is, but I was going to say it doesn't even, that little bit of imagery on there probably doesn't really matter, but I guess it would because it gets, you know, you know what size to cut these out in for those like tiny little bits. And I think on this this printable vinyl, I think that this little tiny little element like this, I think the glow in the dark strength, I think it's enough where that little tiny bit like that, I think it'll show up, in a dark situation enough to make it worthwhile, to take this little bit of extra time. Now, I'm not going to always, when I'm doing these lanterns, I don't foresee myself using these with like cutouts like most of the time. I'm just kind of doing it as a little experiment here off the bat. I put a little lighting or something like that on them, and I think, I don't know, I don't know, starting off this way, it's kind of, or early on in the experimenting with the designs, it's kind of a pretty dynamic um, application of them, I think. So I don't know, maybe it'd be hard to go back. Yeah, instead of having this, kind of makes it a little bit more interactive. Okay, so see, here's 4 of them right here, and I just have this one right here to go. I got a crown too. I think that's about, yeah, that crown. That's about how much mine was, I think. But luckily, insurance picked up, a decent amount of it. Not a huge amount. Not the amount that I wish it was, which is 100%. Okay, this last little bit here, this is like the hard, what? Okay, there we go. I was gonna say, I can't get that backing off of there. And I honestly can't tell what's up and what's down here. I think that's actually that. Up and down on all these lanterns, I don't think it really mattered. All right, let me see. She gets glued in now, right? All right, so look at those. Isn't that crazy? I'm kind of curious to see what these look like reflecting down in here. You can see those ones right in here against the lower lanterns, which are also glow in the dark. So these ones are already popping out like that. Okay. I didn't want this video to be like, the Lord of the Rings in length, like I have done with some other videos in the past. Or live streams. Okay, or maybe it was just videos, I can't remember, pre-recorded. All right, so let's go like maybe over here. I'm trying to decide. Yeah, right there, I think. I can't have her in front of the lantern because those lanterns are supposed to be in front of her, I think. Let me see, maybe it's over here. Yeah. I think that looks better right there. Okay, so I'm getting my bearings here. So that hand right there is right at the base of that tree, and this hand right here is right underneath this lantern, I think. So somewhere up here. Like that. Okay, I wasn't going to do it either, but see that little space in between her arm and her dress? I thought I would just fill that in later, but I think it's going to look weird. So let's do this. Let's cut it out with an X-Acto blade. My graphic arts teacher wrote on the chalkboard in his class. Now, I had been working with these types of tools, a lot before that, but he wrote on the board. This is in high school. He says, yeah, everyone pronounces it, and he wrote eggs acto, like, like chicken eggs. So anytime I'm working with the X-Acto blade, I think of his eggs acto. All right, it was right. Where was it right there? It was right there, huh? Yeah, okay. All right. Where'd my glue go? Thank heavens for the barely art, precision art, precision glue, high-tech nozzle. When I first saw the price of this, the different like crafting glues out there, I'd have to be honest, I thought, what? It's not like the same price as like Elmer's. But the way that I use it, at least, I mean, that thing, it's probably going to last me like 20 years. Or it'd probably dry out, you know, if it does dry out, like before I even like get close to using it up. Okay, let me see here. Got a precision activity here, or process procedure. It's like trying to get the needle in Operation, that game. I think that's what it was. That hardest thing to get. All right, let's take a look here and see. It looks okay. I'm gonna see if I can do something here, though. Let me get her kind of tacked down a little bit more flush. Okay, I need to get the tack and peel out of my way here. Look at this. It's stuck to my glow-in-the-dark paper here. Luckily, it's vinyl and it comes right off. All right, let's do this right here. She looks okay to me. Now, I don't know if I could put this white over her, you know, because she's raised, so it might create a little bit of a kind of noticeable, not seam, I don't know, whatever, raised portion, separation, I guess, from the back of the paper if I put a little bit of mist over it. But I want to put a little mist over her so she's integrated into the scene a little bit more. Let's do this. Okay, it looks okay. Let me see. I'll come over from this way, like this a little bit. See, like this right in here. That's too much, though. And I had some of that mist right back in there. Now it's supposed to be behind her, but I guess this is what she looks like now. See, she looks a little bit more integrated. She has some of that texturing going on in the background right on her. Okay. Let's do that, but then let's also do a little bit more shading here. Now I'll put some red underneath her foot, even though it's a little bit light in there. And I'll have her cast in a shadow on some objects right in back of her, right in here, now that we know where she's going. Okay. That's a little bit better. Now I'm putting a little bit of shadow right here, too. Anyone have a good name for this piece? For this scene? Okay, let's see what we have here. I'll take a look at it without, you know, just regular light here first. Do you see this right here? How it kind of dimmed out a little bit from that initial application of color. I do have her, kind of her head, this piece right here is right over, the middle of her, but I don't know. Like I said, she was an afterthought. I was going to put like a deer up here in the clearing or something like that, but I thought, I don't know. That it didn't look like exactly right to me. So then I thought, okay, I've already cut out this other figure here. I was thinking about having her over here originally, but I thought, oh no, I got that sitting figure, that comes in like both sides. One's like looking that way and the other one's looking that way. But I think, that kind of dynamic right there looks okay. All right, so that is it. I think I'm looking up here. I think that's dark enough up there for the piece. The white pigment ink, I think, really helped out quite a bit in here. Let's see. The shots I got at the dentist made me shake real bad. Oh, yeah. You need my guy. He does this like super shallow shot. You like barely even feel it. It felt like a little bit of pressure, and then he like leaves the room, or I don't know. Like we waited like for 5 minutes, and then he came back in and kind of gave me the other shot that would really numb out. Yeah, I had that looked at it to see if I needed a root canal, and I didn't, luckily. Yeah, my jaw was real kind of like sore that night because I couldn't open my jaw completely. Neuropathy in my mouth. I will spell it. Hurt me, shot straight into my side. Oh my god. Yeah, you need my guy. Is Linda in here? Yeah. So I picked my guy because one of the things he's a Canadian. So Canadians have that reputation, right? Is that true, Linda? You're supposed to be like super, super, like you know, uh, kind. But anyways, yeah, it was my first time going to this new dentist. But yeah, he was awesome. He was almost like a little bit too conscientious. He said, "Hey, if is that how are you doing?" Constantly. I had to say, it's just saying, "Yeah, fine." Pain shots, no numbing gel. No, it has mammal. No numbing gel. What is there a numbing gel that they use these days? I didn't get any of that. Sticker paper is the way to go. The glue on a small image. Oh yeah, I would have had glue all over myself. I don't know. With this one, I think it would have been just like a tiny little drop though. But yeah, yeah. If it's on, and this one, of course, is the paper. So I think that that glow in the dark paper, that sticker paper, it's really integrating with this. I can, of course, see it on the surface of the mirrored surface a lot more because it is mirrored in the background. But the integration of these cutout lanterns up here, it looks really seamless in person. Oh, look at that. Look how they kind of shine, because they're like vinyl up there a little bit more too. But again, I only put in that like rectangular portion right in there. So that really integrated really well. And like I said, it saves us from a lot of tedium from having to cut out the whole thing. And plus, I don't know how we do this like looping thing. If we had to cut out this whole thing. So just, you know what I mean? It's just so much easier just to cut them out and just cut out the portions that, we're going to need for that glow in the dark area because we don't need that darker area at all. Same thing with the lower lanterns and that reflection area. So, yeah. Where did my glue go? I always lose that glue, Bonnie. I have a spot for it right next to me. I should put it over there because often, yeah, it's like right on my table and I always lose it. Is it because I don't use it all the time? So, yeah. Dancing with the lights. Dancing in the lights. What about light dancing? Dancing in the Garden of Lights. Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. That's a longer one, though. But that's pretty good, though. Yeah. Garden of Lights. Or just Garden of Lights, huh? That sounds pretty cool too. Who's all for the Garden of Lights here? Let's take a look at and see what it looks like in the lights, though. Let's start turning off some lights here. Okay, I need to turn on a light on the other side of my room so that it just doesn't get like completely pitch black in here, and the only thing we can see is the glowing lantern. So let me go turn that light on. I've got like a swing arm lamp across the room, and I think that was all I had last time here. So anyways, this is like at a 45-degree angle like this. Okay, if anyone just joined in or whatever and you're kind of wondering what the heck is going on here, how's this card here? So it's just using the interior of the card. Silver mirrored cardstock on the bottom. This one would work pretty decently with the golden cardstock too, I think. It'd have a little bit of a warmer tone to it. I don't know if it'd match as well color-wise, but I think it would match good enough. And it might even look cooler, I don't know. I'm going to charge this up with some lights right now. It's like I have LED lights on one side and fluorescent on the other, I think. So we'll use a little bit of both here. All right, so those are charged up. They already look kind of active right here in this super bright light. There's one side turned off. Let me see what it looks like just turning off. I have like 4 lamps in here, or light switches. Look at that. This is kind of more and more interesting. That looks pretty cool though, huh? There you go. Oh, that looks pretty cool. All right, but there is... Now this is like in person here for me. It's a lot darker. Let me see if I can compensate here a little bit. That's about how it is for me here, but the lantern, it's like that right there. How I'm looking, but the glow in the dark lamps right in here they're greener in person. Okay, so let me bump this up a little bit more. Let me bump it down here. Let's leave it like that right there, because my camera's really trying to compensate hard for the super dim light here. But yeah, a lot greener in person. But there you go with the lights. But look at those lights from the lanterns up above, reflecting down there. Okay, now let me take a look here. Yeah, in person, I mean, that's a tiny little bit of that paper, but they're reflecting pretty decently down there. You see them right down there? And the larger ones here in the foreground are, a lot lighter too than that. But that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see those reflected lanterns from up above against the floating lanterns down below like that. So I think that's pretty fun like that. Isn't that a fun, kind of little thing we can do? It's kind of fun being able to add these lighting. Here, let me do something right here too. Let me see if I can... I don't know if this paper right here, this white paper, is good or bad here. Let me see if I can move that out. And that, yeah, okay, that looks a little bit... Let me charge it up again a little bit more. Okay, that's not like a super long charge there, but that should do. But anyway, it's fun to get some kind of way to get actual lighting coming from out of our cards without having, you know what I mean? I mentioned this before, without having to do something like with LED lights or something like that. So fairly painless, process to just use the glow-in-the-dark sticker paper. Like that, printable vinyl sticker paper, that is. Printable being key. There, I looked. So I looked at some of those glow in the dark papers because I thought some of them might, more of them might be available now, but I didn't see too many on Amazon. I thought this thing is focusing on right here instead of that background. Let me get a little light in here. My camera is focusing on that closed portion right there. Let's see. Okay, there we go. It keeps focusing on a different area. It's having a hard time finding focus here. You can kind of get the gist of it though. It's a little bit blurred out. It's really dark in this room. But yeah, that Gira vinyl still, it looks like it's still a pretty good deal because it's a 10 pack. There were cheaper packs, but I think it came in like a pack of 5 or something. So I think the Gira, or whatever, giraffe or whatever, something is still a pretty good deal. Okay, I can't remember how much it cost. It was like $1 a sheet. I think it was a 10 pack for something roughly around that. When I bought it, a different pack before, it was $2 a sheet or $2.50 or something like that. So it was quite a bit. But I think you can get a lot of use even just out of one piece. I've done whole scenes on the vinyl, but when I'm just using it for these like little things like this, it's going to take me a long time to go through like one sheet of it even. Let's see. Scene name. Already time to check out. Y'all have a great week. Good to see you, Sheila. It's vinyl, printable vinyl sticker paper candy. Yeah. Hopefully it looks like water and, that kind of reflection area, huh? Like that. When you get all these things like this, I think these little glow-in-the-dark things up here, these things are kind of showing down in this lower area really strong like that. Normally it's just kind of things reflecting up here, but when you get actual lights up here, glow-in-the-dark lights, those are really standing out pretty well down there. From, I don't know, from what it looks like, so. Yeah, I really like that look. Here, I'm just going to flip on one light here so it's still a little bit glowing. But look at it, it's like, so it looks like such different colors, with the strength of lighting on them. But yeah. All right, so I love my lanterns, I guess, with what I've seen so far. I really liked it just even in the first experiment. So when was this? Like last week, just kind of doing them just with regular paper. Okay, like that. And that's just stamped onto a piece of yellow paper down there for the reflections like that. And then we followed up with going a little bit crazier with this one right here, just kind of more spread out like that, right? And these ones to me, in just regular light, that really looks like they're glowing to me. And then we thought, oh, why don't I just use the glow-in-the-dark sticker paper and check that one out with this. With the glow-in-the-dark moon, too, glowing down there in the reflection. And here we have, the lanterns now. I thought about the glow-in-the-dark moon up here, but I was like, okay, that would compete, I think, with the lanterns. I don't know. It might look pretty cool, though. I think if I did that, though, I'd have it like a moon coming, not with a tree in front of it, but I'd have like a moon kind of like rising or something like that. Wouldn't that be cool? Or you can do it something like this. We can have like this is water down here, and you just have like a moon, half moon right here, so that the reflection of it kind of makes the full moon down in the reflection area. I don't know, you put like something down here, or I guess you can have a tree or something like that, or just some islands. Deanna's been doing those horizon cards, with her background papers, those footsteps kind of leading into something, but it'd be kind of cool to have like a half a moon up there. And then you can use the half a moon for another scene. You can just cut it in half, right? But anyway, I don't know, some additional ideas, I guess, for lighting, scene lighting. Um, it could be pretty fun. And like I said, with this paper right here, like that looks pretty cool. But just stamping it on the paper itself too, regular paper, I think that looks good too. I'm not sure which one I like better. This one for me though, just the glow in the dark papers and not having used it before, this is the one that I'm kind of thinking about a little bit more. Although I was like, really like that one just stamped on regular paper too, because I thought it looked like it was glowing. But just the fact that, I think this looks pretty cool as is, but then you turn off the light and it adds on that extra kind of element down there. But see this, little fog down here? See, that integrated her a little bit more, and then I put a little bit more right there. So she didn't just look like she was sitting on top of the paper. I think she's like in the scene slightly more. She can probably use, now that I looked at this with this light kind of reflecting back up here, she can use a little bit more tone probably. I might put a little bit more color in the shadows of her dress or something like that. And what might look kind of cool too, do a little bit more of those little fireflies or something like that around in there. I don't think they would distract from the lanterns. I think they're strong enough, to be able to handle some extra little elements kind of flying around in here, like in those dark areas like we've done before. But yeah, I'll do them in like green or something like that. And then they'll be more subtle, of course, in a dimmer light or whatever. All right. Thanks, everyone, for checking it out. Yeah, Cecile. It's like the feelings of like, being a kid working with this type of thing. So this one's right here. It's like almost like, like a pop-up book, Kids love pop-up books. I don't know. I still would love pop-up books, when I used to go into Barnes and Noble and Borders and all those bookstores, and I would go over to the children's book section often, because that was there was some really dynamic types of illustration going on in picture books, and I would, I'd still love seeing all those funky books with the interactive things like we talked about with the Eric Carle ones with the lighting in the back or something like that. But I still love those. They came up with so many of those cool pop-up books. I don't know what it's been, last 25 years or something like that. I love seeing those things, and just kind of still opening up those types of things. So you get a little bit of both in this one. You get a little bit of that glow in the dark on this one, plus some of the pop-up looking thing, illusion of it at least. What was that name again of this one? Where did it go? I'm scrolling up. Was it The Garden of Lights or Dancing in the Garden? See, I don't know if I can write that full title on the YouTube thing. It's like a limited amount of spaces. Where did that go? Yeah. I don't know. That Dancing in the Garden of Lights, that sounds pretty good, though. I think we're going with that one, Linda. Yeah, Dancing in the Garden of Lights. GOL for a short Garden of Lights. All right, have a great rest of evening. Hope to see you all in the next live stream.